5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Stop the killing, stop the hate.
Stop the killing, stop the hate.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
Occupation no more.
My name is David Matos. I'm the president and acting director of the Carolina Peace Resource Center. The Carolina Peace Resource Center is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that's a voice for peace and a resource for nonviolent change. I was interested in getting involved on Israel-Palestine as an issue. I grew up with Palestinian kids in suburban Cleveland, Ohio, so I was knew about Israel-Palestine. I was looking for a group that would work on this issue in South Carolina, and I eventually ran into the Carolina Peace Resource Center. They said, yeah, we'll do something about Palestine. Silence is violence. When you see violence or injustice that you could speak out and do something about, and you decide not to do something about. One person can't do everything. You can't speak out on every issue and be consistent about everything, you know? But if you see something happening and you don't use your voice, that's a choice. So, you know, speak out when you can, even if your voice shakes. So yeah, we can't afford to be silent about when we see violence and injustice occurring, whether it's here in our own communities or whether it's abroad. It's always been about committed people, small groups of committed people. Margaret Mead's got that wonderful quote, never doubt that a small group of committed people can change the world. In fact, they're the only ones who ever have.
What do we want? What do we want it now?
Right now, it has been Gaza, 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 Gaza. What we're seeing is some of the most horrific violence that we've ever seen in modern warfare. And we're trying to stop the dynamic. And the dynamic that has been running for decades now is that the U.S. is arming and supporting and kind of fueling this kind of violence. And so, number one, we want a ceasefire. Number two, we want humanitarian aid. But there's the bigger picture of Israel-Palestine, that we want peace between Israelis and Palestinians. I think this horrific violence that we're seeing, over 30,000 Palestinians killed, people being starved to death right now. The upshot of all this horror that we're seeing is that enough people in the United States are going to be activated to see that our own foreign policy is contributing to that. We're citizens of this superpower. We have a responsibility to know what our government is doing and making sure it's doing the right thing, and when it's doing the wrong thing, to speak out against that.
Biden, Biden, you can't hide!
Biden, Biden, you can't hide!
You are funding genocide!
We would love to win the Super Bowl of peace. Get all of our senators to line up on peace issues the way that we see them. But sometimes you have to just field the team first and play, because who's to say when the change is going to happen? Who's to say that the change isn't going to happen 5 days from now, 5 months from now, 5 years from now, or 50 years from now? The changes that we're working for are long-term systemic changes that need to happen. And so it's worth the effort to work for change, even if we don't see it on our local scale or even see it even within our lifetime. When we hear the politicians and the people in power start changing what they say because they have to listen to the people, that's when we see ourselves as being successful. And that's definitely happened with Gaza. One of the things that MLK argued in the Beyond Vietnam speech, where he came out with his opposition to the war in Vietnam, was to say that we have a problem in America with racism, with militarism, and with materialism, that we value money and material wealth more than we value people's lives. And he had called for a radical revolution in values. And he warned us that if we did not make good on the need for a moral revolution, we would be marching and demonstrating at different causes for another 50 years. That was 50 years ago. His words have been prophetic. We need to have a change in the United States where we value human lives, whether it's the lives of our own people or people abroad that we're providing the bombs for, or actually bombing and killing abroad. Their lives matter, and you know, it doesn't matter according to our militarism. No one's ever held accountable. We need to make sure that those people are held accountable, and we need to change what our country is doing in the world, because we could be a moral superpower rather than a military superpower. We have the ideals, we have the goodness of our people, that it is amazing, but we also have this horrific legacy of war and violence and injustice and racism and being focused on material wealth rather than valuing human beings. And that's a moral revolution that we still have to win.